What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Virzi Effect podcast show. My name is Paul Virzi, and you guys listening to episode 552. And today, I have an amazing guest, somebody that I recently connected with in Los Angeles on a project that he was doing, but a dude that I was told through mutual friends that I would like and get along with. They were all right. We have a ton of mutual friends like Brett Ernst and Andrew Themlis, and I'm sure the list goes on and on.
Oh, yeah.
Hilarious stand-up comedian and film director Mike Young. What is going on? By the way, he has a special that is available that was produced by All Things Comedy called Who the F is Mike Young? Is that on YouTube?
That is on YouTube.
That's on YouTube. You could check that out. Thanks for being here,
Thanks,
dude.
bro. Thanks for having me. I got the same word. I got the same word in the street that you did.
Yeah.
You're gonna love Virzi. You gotta
Yeah.
get Virzi for your movie. So like, it's all love, bro.
It was funny because I literally saw you make a video in New York City, and I go, "Oh shit! I think he's here."
That's how it goes.
And as soon as I saw that, I was like, "Oh well, you know what? If he's in town, let's go. Here we are." Detroit guy,
Yep, Detroit guy.
but started your stand-up career in LA.
Always dreamed about stand-up, loved stand-up, snuck into Eddie Murphy at 13, 14 years old.
Dude, Eddie Murphy Raw. My dad took me.
Yeah.
So and my parents were like, you can't take him, and that did it, dude. Eddie Murphy Raw did it in the theater. I'm like, that's it.
Yeah, I saw him at the Fox. I was like 13 or 14. My cousin snuck me in. It was the Delirious tour. It was Delirious before Raw.
That's the red suit.
Yeah, the red suit. And it was like the light went off and I was already a class clown. And I'm like, I'm watching everything he does. I'm studying everything and I'm going to be a comedian. I didn't know what that meant,
Yep.
but I just like had the dream and I was like, I'm going for it. And
How old were you at the Fox Theater when he was there?
I was like 13, 14. My cousins were like, 18,
And you got in
18,
with them.
19. They snuck me right in.
That was it?
Yeah, that was it. Game over.
Oh my God.
I was imitating everything I saw.
Dude, you saw
just-
Eddie Murphy working on Delirious.
Yeah, I
That's
saw Eddie
fucking
Murphy
wild.
at the Fox. It was nuts, man.
Oh,
It changed my whole life. I was already a fan. Like he had already done SNL, so he was already legend
he was...
in my eyes. But to see him live was a life changer.
Yeah.
And then then I didn't. But I was too scared growing up to ever start comedy in Detroit. I went to college. I didn't do comedy. I always just had it in the back of my mind. And so when I got to LA, I moved to LA after University of Arizona, and that's where I finally started doing the open mics.
Oh shit! And this is at the Comedy Store. Is where you started?
Comedy Store, open mics on Sunday.
So wait, you're a Sun Devil?
No. Wildcat, Arizona University.
Oh, University
U
of
of A.
U of A.
U of A Wildcat. ASU's the Sun Devils.
Is that a big rivalry or no? They don't.
They're both so average that like
It's not like Michigan. Michigan's
not
nothing
at
like
all.
that.
No, they're like, you're in Arizona. It's the most fun you can
feel
have.
okay for the team that won.
No
Good
one's
for them.
studying. They don't care. We don't care.
Okay, so
it's
you
more
go
of a place to go have fun.
So you go to U of A and then you go out to California and you start doing open mics at the store.
Yeah, I mean, there was like a gap. There was few gap years where I like lived with my girlfriend from college and, had to figure out that I had to go do comedy. And I started like a construction company in Detroit when didn't know what I was going to do. So there was like a 3-4 years of like faltering everywhere.
Yeah.
And always knowing I'm going to Cali, but I didn't go to Cali till then. And so when I went there, I heard of the Comedy Store. I had an apartment down on like 3rd and Orlando somewhere, and I would ride my bike, bro, up to the Comedy Store, sign my name, and just every Sunday do it. I got a job, just like PAing on a TV show. Right, I was like a PA, and by the way, I couldn't get around LA. Like I didn't know my way around. So I paid my boy from college $40 cash to deliver all the scripts that had to go around LA as a PA, because I couldn't do the freeways.
You were delegating authority like that.
I was a baby boss. I was already. My boy was from LA that I went to college with, Scott Venner. I swear to God, I gave him money. He delivered the scripts to like the actors' houses. And I just got, I was a PA and just started doing comedy, fell in love with it, and man, it's been a crazy journey so far, bro.
Yeah, man, and there's so much stuff I want to talk to you about, but bigger Detroit hero to you, Eminem or Axel Foley?
Oh, that's a great question,
Yo, 'cause
bro.
here's the thing. Because it clicked with me when you said he was at the Fox. Axel Foley is from Detroit. He's a Detroit police officer.
By the way, you want to know something even crazier? Detective Gil Hill that played his detective.
Yeah.
The guy that was like, Foley, I'll kick your ass.
And he
that
goes,
dude,
your ass is still there. It's not all chewed up yet. Don't mess with me, Axel. Not now.
yeah, that's him. So the guy that was the actor was the real homicide detective.
No.
He was the head of homicide. He turned out to be dirty. He was a dirty cop. Get
the fuck out of here.
Bro, look it up.
Wait a
Gil
minute.
Hill, bro, they got him on an FBI wiretap getting like 60,000 cash for a cover-up.
What?
He was the actor that played Axel. He was a great actor. He did a great job. But he wasn't an actor. He was the actual homicide.
No, he actually did. Dude, he actually acted great
He was phenomenal.
Yeah, he goes, this whole thing stinks to high heaven. He was a dirty cop for real?
No, I don't want to get in trouble, but he was investigated.
He was investigated.
And there was him. They had him on an FBI wiretap and video.
Did he do any other movies besides?
No, he never did any other movies.
The only movie he did was he died in Axel Foley's hands in like the third one, right?
Exactly.
With the amusement park?
Exactly.
It was a rough one.
And then he was like, got so caught up in his own fame for a minute, tried to like run for office. They got him dirty. He was involved around the White Boy Rick times. Like you heard White Boy Rick.
Wait, White Boy Rick is Detroit?
Detroit.
Okay.
Yeah, so White Boy Rick.
You know what's funny is I keep wanting to see that movie because I know a movie came out like a year or two ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see it, but that's a Detroit thing.
That's a big Detroit thing. He had a house right behind my middle school.
Wow.
And we always knew about we would hear about White Boy Rick. By the way, he's like a friend of mine now. He's in the movie. By the way, I put him in the movie.
He's in the movie?
I go, he's been out of prison for 2 years. I go, Rick, please, would you play a prisoner now that you're free? And we're going to just have the camera on you. And the dude's doing comedy in jail. And he makes the comedy. He's like, the system's messed up. It did this to these guys, this to these guys. And look what it did to White Boy Rick. And the camera lands on White Boy Rick. And he goes, yeah, man, the system's fucked up. And I got the real White Boy Rick.
You got the real White Boy Rick.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I noticed too? You Detroit guys, no matter how big of you guys know everything that anybody's doing in that city, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a small, big town. It's like a small city, but a big reach.
Yeah.
It's an interesting, it's got its own personality, right?
It hit me because he was wearing, Axel Foley was wearing he was wearing Lions. No, he's wearing the Lions jacket.
He was wearing the Lions jacket, but he was also wearing, where'd my parents go to school? Mumford Phys Ed.
I know.
Mumford High School.
Mumford, now that you say that, I see it.
Mumford Phys Ed.
Wow.
That's where my parents went to school.
That's fucking nuts, dude.
And that was because Jerry Bruckheimer, who produced the movie, is from Detroit. He went to Mumford. Oh, wow. So that was a whole connection there. He produced the movie, did it there, honored his high school, so it was a whole Detroit connection.
Wow, dude.
Yeah, man.
That's fucking nuts.
Yeah.
So I know. So you came up because I'm good friends with hilarious Brett Ernst.
Yeah.
And so that was the guy. So those were guys at the store.
Yeah.
Like, who were the guys that was it like him?
It was him, Sebastian, Bobby Lee.
Yep.
Who was in our class? Like
you're talking late '90s, early 2000s.
Late '90s, yeah, like late '90s, early 2000s.
Yep.
Steve Renazizi kind of came in like right around there after us. Sam Tripoli was in the mix. Like, it was a good crew of talent.
Yep.
All dudes who took the craft seriously.
Yeah.
All dudes who were just like, who had odd jobs, just loving comedy, like knowing that we wanted to do comedy and that was going to be our life. Like, we all made the decision. It was like, we're going for broke, rich or poor.
Now, I don't mean to bring that's amazing. I don't mean to bring up a tough thing, and we've talked about this. I know how close you were to Bob Saget, rest his soul, one of the nicest dudes I met. He was one of the first famous people I met in the business that made me feel good.
Yeah.
Like I remember, I told the story before, but I've never told you, so I'll tell you quickly. I'm on stage at Stand Up New York, and somebody goes, "Hey, Saget's coming with Stamos," and this is when Stamos was with Rebecca Stamos. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So they pull up in an SUV, they all get out. Dude, I'm on stage, and Saget and Stamos are in the front just watching the show.
Oh damn!
And I'm like, and I was a kind of a newer comic, you know?
Yeah.
And I had a really good moment though where I did an improv, and I just go, Jesus, I go Danny Tanner and Uncle Jesse, and I go, dude, and then I just said, I go, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I go, Full House wasn't a show that I ever wanted to watch, but then 23 minutes in, I'm like, dude, how's DJ gonna get out of this one, right? and I was like a young comic, right? And dude, they loved loved it. And I remember walking off.
Yeah.
And I remember Stamos patting my back. And I remember Saget going, I go, yeah, you know, I kind of didn't. And he goes, oh, dude, that was so great. And I just remember he was one of the first, like, bigger names to ever make you feel, because you always remember that.
Of course.
You know, I remember, you know, you'll remember the first time you run into somebody like that. And I know you opened for him.
Many years.
For what, 10 years?
Yeah, 10, 11 years. Yeah.
And you met him at the store, and then you were probably doing, I mean, you're doing, the nice thing is you're opening for him, you're doing sold out.
Sold out crazy everywhere. So that was a beautiful, Bob was a blessing, bro, in my life. Yeah. And I actually met him, I had an office for the show Entourage. I was like punching up jokes the first 2 seasons. And so I had an office there. I was good friends with Doug Ellen. They introduced me to Bob. I didn't meet him at the store.
Oh, because Bob was on the show.
Bob was on the show.
Right.
And they were like, you got to meet Bob. And I was kind of doing my own thing. I had my own little tour going, like this own little, I don't know if you ever heard of like the Young American Comedy Tour. Did you ever hear of that?
Maybe.
So it was me, Sebastian, Brett Ernst, and Bobby Lee. And like one of us would sub out every city.
I think I remember seeing something about that. Like,
yeah, bro.
This is before anybody popped off.
Before anybody popped off.
Was that like before Bobby Lee was on Mad TV, or like around that time?
No, it was around that time.
Okay.
Bobby was doing us a favor, you know, to come be on the tour.
Got it.
He was on Mad TV, but I was literally, and I haven't even told the story, but I was, you know, we were all 8, 9 years, whatever it was, into the game. We were all pretty funny. We all felt confident in our 20-minute skills. Like we had good 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Bro, I'm sitting on the patio of the Comedy Store. I'm like, Sebastian, this fucking guy's hilarious. Brett Ernst, funny. Bobby Lee. So a light bulb goes off in my head, and I'm like, if the Kings of Comedy are making $20 million a year, this crew can we can at least like we're worth 75,000. You know what I mean? We could at least make a living with this little group.
Yeah.
And so I literally took our group, and I went to the improvs. I called up the improv. I go, can I come in, please, and just like pitch something to you guys?
Yeah.
So I went in, and I was like, I got Sebastian, Bobby Lee, Bert Kreischer. And I had the names on a list. I gave it to the improvs. Erin, who still books the improv to this day, she goes, hold on one sec. She does some weird stuff on her computer. And she hands me like 10 cities, like 10 offers for 10 cities. And that was my intro into any kind of like touring or business. So I was running the Young American.
So you ran that.
I ran it. I was on it, but I also ran it.
Yeah.
And so I'll never forget, I get a call one day on a 2-way from Ernst and Sebastian at the same time. They fucking Italian me. They go like this, yeah, Mike, we just want to know, are we partners or are we works for hire? That's exactly what these are my boys.
Yeah.
So I didn't know what the answer was.
Were they fucking with you or no? They
wanted to know, like, because this thing could be big. Do we go in as partners?
Right,
or
if
do you want to just
explodes? Right.
We want to be in on all of it. So I didn't really know what, bro, my business acumen was so bad at the time. I didn't know the right answer. So I was like, because the improv was giving me the money, and I paid everybody equally. So I was paying everyone at the time like maybe $1,800 a weekend, which I thought was the best money we all made. And I was like, your works for hire. They're like, all right, thanks. At least we know now that we're going to leave this tour soon and like go do our own thing. But I should have probably said, let's all just be partners and run this thing till we can't run it anymore. Because the first one to leave the tour was Kreischer. And I remember seeing when he left, he was still getting paid like the same amount even by himself before he blew up. So it was just like, we had the most fun. We ran that tour for like 3 years, but that was like the Comedy Store crew.
That's cool,
and we
man.
just had our own tour.
Oh, that's amazing. You know what? That's a tough question for a young comic too, because it seems like the answer would be easy, but it's not. When somebody's like, all right, these are my boys, and if this thing explodes, do we all want to be partners, or do I want to be on the... That's a tough thing.
It was tough.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
It was tough. I wish we would have had more conversations about it, because I was just looking for because I was babysitting the tour basically. Like I set up the radio, and trying to wake up a comic for radio in those days was like it was a time when like Sebastian wasn't even talking. You know what I mean? Like socially, he wasn't even talking on radio. We do radio. He's not saying anything.
Yeah.
Brett's doing all the talking. Yeah. Bobby Lee's rubbing fucking Elmer's glue in his fingertips. You know what I mean? Yeah. Sleeping till 2 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And it was just babysitting comics. So looking back, I wish I was like, let's all be partners and let's run this thing and we'll just blow it up huge.
You know what's amazing to me though? It's like you said something that just sparked something with me, where it's like you're the one to see, like when you just said, I'm looking at Brett Ernst, and I'm looking at Sebastian, and I'm looking at Bobby, I'm looking at Burr, I'm looking at all these guys, and in your mind you're like, let's make money. And like now you're a filmmaker, your mind is always going towards like, let's put things together.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny how like some people's minds in this are either just focused on one thing,
Yeah.
or but like your mind is like, no, let me fucking write a story.
Yeah.
And I have the talent to make the story come together.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing, dude. And I think people like you will always continue to work and have projects because that's just how that's how your mind works.
Yeah, that is. I was talking to somebody yesterday because they're like, do you like writing more than and directing more than stand up? And it's like, no, I look at it all as like a continuum.
Yeah.
And I just love, like when I meet somebody and they have a like distinct voice, I love writing for that voice.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't have to do, to me, I like a team, and I like, I look at comedians like if we could all get our shit together, we'd take over the world. Because if we got the 50 funniest brains in the country,
Yeah.
why wouldn't we just like write our own stuff for each other? What are we
Yeah.
asking these people all over the place for
yeah.
jobs? So my mind's always been like that, and
Yeah.
it probably comes from like just my growing up kind of like poor mentality. Dad was like driving a dump truck and a scrap mentality of like,
Yeah.
tomorrow I'll be broke. So like, let's
You're just like, what's the next thing? And we got to make sure we're on it.
yeah,
And we got to,
make quality work. And like, I just look at it like we're surrounded by talent. So why not like do it together?
Yeah, and when you said like a continuum, it's like, yeah, it's like, so I love doing stand-up, but then if I do this movie and the movie does good, guess what? More tickets for stand-up, and then we'll be able to get more money for the next movie, and
Yeah.
we're creating.
Totally.
It's like, all we want to do is, all I want to do is create dope shit.
100%.
I want to be in dope shit, I want to create dope shit, I want it to
That's
just
it.
get better, and that's all we really want to do.
I wish I could have succinctly put it that way, Paul, because that's all I want to do, bro, is make dope shit and keep going forward.
But there's
no
a flip
trick.
side. No,
Yeah.
there's not. You're 100%, but there's a flip side. Then there's people that don't care about it being dope.
Right.
Then there's people that are like, I want to get famous and rich
Yeah.
at all costs. And we're seeing a lot of that now. And again, I always said this, I keep saying, I don't mean to sound like a broken record. I'll never knock somebody's hustle for eating gross shit or fucking doing fucking man on the street or dressing up a certain way.
Yeah.
You feed your kids, but for me, it's like I didn't drop out of college for that.
No.
But the shit that you're talking about, like that's what's like motivating. Like now I'm having conversations with people where, like, you know, I was on the phone with somebody yesterday, a big person in our business, and was just like, hey man, I got this part. I think this part would be good for you. And it's like, yeah, because they saw me do what I do best and what I love.
Yep.
And then they were like, oh man, like that joke or that fucking story Virzi told, if he did a scene where he was talking like that, that's kind of what I want for this part. That's the dream. Dude.
That's it.
That's it. It's like, and it's the same thing. Like I'm sure, like when I mean, obviously on a much bigger scale, but back in the day, to come full circle, we're talking about. You see Eddie Murphy, 18 years old on SNL, and then all of a sudden you see him do Delirious, and he's talking about the ice cream and all that. You know, people were like, "Oh, dude, we gotta fucking."
Oh, we got a bank.
And now there's so many different avenues. I think this is the first time that you could be really, really big and rich, and not everybody knows you. Like you, this is the first time in the history of show business you could sell out Madison Square Garden 5 times in a row, and the majority of the country doesn't know you.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's like people, it's like carved out pockets.
Yeah.
Right, think about that. Like back in the day when Dice sold out Madison Square Garden, everybody knew Andrew Dice Clay.
Oh, yeah.
Now, there's people that have done that you're like, wait, who is this, that guy from... But there's also Amazon, Hulu, Netflix, right? So we were talking before we went on the air about your like movie, and it's like now when you create a great movie with great actors and great scenes, that's on your fucking. You do it your way.
Yeah,
you know.
I love. It's exactly what you said, and bro, I've seen you know when Brett told me about you like back in the day. You know, I watched your comedy, and you're fucking dope, bro. And I can
appreciate
tell,
that, man.
No, but you were talking about like, and like you said, you don't want to knock anyone's hustle, but you know what? All that bullshit, get famous quick, get your money. That's go get your money, save your money. You know what I mean? Because save your money.
Save your money.
For real, because I always feel like the craftsmen are the ones that are going to have the longevity. And like you could tell just from watching your stand-up, you're a craftsman. You know what I mean? You don't have, there's not like a lot of fat in your jokes. Your point of view is clear as day. And someone's going to come along soon and probably, boom, they're just going to create for you. And give you a shot to do you with your voice.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, but it's obvious because I've worked with a lot of these people. Like I've gotten the call of like, hey, our girl that we represent has 25 million followers, and we'd like you to write a TV show for her, and she's kind of funny, and they get you into this mix, and then you like halfway through the thing, you're like, you ain't Lucille Ball.
Right.
You ain't even fucking
This is
Jimmy Ball.
This
you know
is
what I mean?
manufactured for like whatever. Like this is not like right.
Like respect the real artist. Like not that you're not doing your thing on Instagram and you're hot and funny and you're doing kind of hot funny things and you got all these followers, but I'm not playing that game. I'm playing the long game. For quality work. Right. Yeah. We've all like done a gig where we've sold our soul for like, you know what I mean? We've all done some kind of weird corporate gig and we're like, I'll never do that again. Yeah. But like I'm done like selling. No, I want to make dope shit, bro. Yeah. Like you said, I want to just make dope shit.
It was funny because I was just talking about that where I was like, you get offered good money to do a corporate gig and it's just not conducive to comedy. It's complete fucking horrible. And all of a sudden you're going, I got this money, but that didn't feel good.
Felt zero.
And it's like I would rather. It's almost like you paid me $10,000 for my soul to hurt.
Totally.
Like my soul just took a body shot for $10,000, and it's like, and you feel so much better going. You know what? I'll take, and I'm just using an example. I'll take $5,000 for a better experience.
Oh yeah,
because it's just, you know what I mean.
Soul crushing.
It's so you
have to just change your mentality a little bit. Like I did this recently, like a charity event that was kind of corporate, but it was like 200 poker players. The last thing they wanted to see was me, bro. But I said I'd do it. I went. They paid me well. And I just I figured out, you know what? I'm just going to change my mentality to, instead of being mad about this situation, I'm just going to go, you know what? I gave a gift of like my comedy to the charity. Like that. Forget what the crowd does. But they didn't pay attention for 1 second. Everyone brutal. Talked through it, and I just plowed through it, bro. Like I was doing it in the mirror. You know what I mean? Like it didn't. Like it was just like, all right, Mike, you got 7 minutes left. Let's just knock it out.
We have the only business where you can do that. Right? Like a surgeon can't be like, dude, it was going bad, but I just kept cutting. We have the only business where you're just like, all right, dude, listen, it's not going great, but we got to get through it. So I'm just going to talk right through it. It's amazing.
It's the irony of comedians. Like we're like the most valuable commodity, but we kind of get treated the worst. Like
it's so
in a weird way. It's like we do the most for Earth. You know what I mean? Like we let you laugh. Your shitty day got better. Your family got better. But in our business, it's almost like an upside down thing. We're like down here.
It's
until
weird.
We're not, and then it's all good. But
I get mad at that though.
So do I.
When people are like, "Oh, dude, like comedy, we're the lowest," and I'm going, "We're bringing joy to your fucking heart and soul." Bro. And like, what's hot? Like, okay, fine, like acting in a scene, that's great because you make somebody's imagination. But like, I'm giving you laughter. Laughter, man.
Bro, first of all, that's why I made stealing jokes. So that I didn't have to rob a comedy club in real life.
Let's talk
I had to make this movie because it was burning a fucking hole in my soul. And I was going, everywhere I go, I feel undervalued and underpaid.
And
there's got to be 50,000 in a safe.
And that's your brain, bro. That's your brain because you were like, my mind is always working. Can you talk about stealing jokes without? So the current movie is stealing jokes and it's going to come out in the winter. So what can you say without? Because I know you're trying to.
No, I could say anything because like it's a new world. Like it's not out yet, but I'm still editing it. But I could tell you because I don't think there's any bad publicity or like I'm not owned by a studio who says don't say a word. We're not like this.
Right.
I'm not dissolving the
Well, I don't want you to give something away. Yeah. But like of the story, but whatever you want to say. So what's it about?
So. I'll tell you where I got the idea. So I've had the chance to open for Sebastian. I've had the chance to open for Chappelle. I've been blessed to open for some amazing talent. And one time I was opening for Chappelle, not too long ago, and it was like not a favor, but like we don't know each other that well, but like whatever. My manager at the time was like, yo, go open for Dave. I did 14 shows up in Northern Cal, and here's my brain again. I'm like, Dave's got to be getting like $100,000 for the night, because we weren't even in a big theater. We were just doing a bunch of like club shows.
So you can't even think of the moment. You're going like, all right, dude, the money that's coming.
No, by the way, I'm not even a money guy.
Right.
I'm more like this is an idea.
Opportunity.
No, my mind works in like story. So like I always grew up thinking to myself, this is the weirdest dream that I would have. I'd be like, I want to live stories. Like, I want to just live strong for like 35 years of living, record all the stories that I go through, write about those for a long period of time, and then just tell those stories and make a living somehow. I don't know how that's going to be, but that's kind of how my brain was working. So I was opening for Dave, and I'm like, God, there's gotta, like, I'm getting like $500 to open. Let's just say $500, right?
Yeah.
He's getting 100,000, whatever. So in my mind, I'm like, there's got to be 80,000 cash. I'm like, what if a comedian was like fed up at the end of his rope and he decided to rob a comedy club? I'm like, I'll bet every comedian has been through something where they were has fantasized about taking down a club that didn't treat him right.
Look at Mike, the producer. He's going, yeah, he's not.
Mike knows. He can feel. Mike feels it.
Yeah.
By the way, I talked to Burr. I talked to everybody. Sebastian. We've all had the thought. And so that's where the impetus of the idea for the movie came. So I had the thought. I thought it was a great high concept. And then I just wrote it. And I just wrote the movie. And then, whatever, down the line, a year, whatever later, I went to, my guys that like financed my other movie. And I was like, I think I have this amazing idea. So that's where the idea came from. So, yeah, bro, that's how my brain works.
Amazing.
When I get an idea, it'll like sit right here. And that one was sitting here. And I was like, I would never rob a comedy club, but I'm from Detroit. I know people that would, and I have it in me to have the thought.
Yeah. So anybody listening, and this is really cool because I don't really know if I've had somebody like you on the show, which is a stand-up, and your roots are stand-up, and then you're making movies and stuff. So for anybody listening that wants to write a movie, or anybody that's interested in that, and they do something else, what would you say? So after you write the script, you said you waited a year to show it to somebody, or it's because it was just sitting there?
It was just sitting there.
Yeah, see, that's amazing to me.
Because it wasn't, so this was, just to go back, like, for movies, this is my third movie that I've written and directed. So this is the last of my third. So are you asking like would I give advice? I mean, I don't have like real crazy advice.
I would say if somebody wants to write a screenplay and wants to write a movie, it's a fucking process. Like you got to write it, and then you got to go and
yeah, there's no way around it. Writing is hard, tedious work.
Yeah.
There's no easy way around it. It is a discipline. I would say go get Stephen King's book on writing and just listen to the tools. And like, I'm a disciplined writer, so I get to the table at 9 o'clock in the morning. I know that I'm gonna write from 9 to 12. I'd go get a workout in. I come back. I'm a little zoned out from like 3 to 5:36. Then I'm done. So that's like my discipline when I'm writing something. So there's no trick to it other than, stay disciplined and write it. And, just know that every scene has a beginning, middle, and end. And go read all the books that they tell you to read. Like, I've read all of them. Save the Cat, this one, Screenplay, Sid Field. I've read all the books.
And I probably, and I could be wrong, but have you had the outline of a movie, and then as you're doing it, you realize, oh, no, this needs to go first?
Oh, yeah.
Like, so it gets moved?
Totally.
Right?
I've sat, bro, my favorite thing in the world, bro, I get excited about note cards and a whiteboard. I love a whiteboard.
Yeah.
So you look at the whiteboard and you're feeling, I love a good whiteboard. Yeah. I'm not even kidding.
No, dude, I like a nice pencil.
Oh, I love it, bro.
A fucking pencil, and I'm starting to get into index cards.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It scares me because I think to myself, I could live on just index cards and like a good marker and a whiteboard, and I might never get anything nice for myself because like I really get off on that shit.
You go into like CVS, just go down the stationery lane and just look. You're like, dude, it's a fucking clean poster.
Yo, I love the stationery lane, bro. I'm not even kidding.
No, I do too. The other day I bought just a big pack of black is it, by the way, nice black number 2 pencils, the outside black, not yellow.
Yeah.
And it was just like, my wife's like, why do we have 20 fucking?
You're like, don't talk to me right now.
They're nice.
Don't even talk to me right now.
Fucking fuck up and erase it. And go back. You know. But for a filmmaker, you must love. You see that fresh whiteboard, and you see, or a bulletin board that you could pack things. You're just like, oh, dude. You start cracking your knuckles.
I swear, because you look at it. Because what it does is it puts the whole movie right in front of you. You know what I mean? So it puts it in front of you so you can feel it and you go, oh, wait a minute, this feels weird. You know, the 20th scene feels weird. Maybe it goes better down here. And you just literally cut and paste and you put the story together. And it's really just a feeling. It's nothing. I'm no genius, bro. Believe me, I'm a C student from Detroit. I just have been working hard to make and doing it. So like I would tell anybody out there, it could be done, but you cannot do it without discipline.
Yeah.
You have to just do it.
You're, somebody like you, and I was very fortunate and honored enough to take part in your project, but I remember working with you and being like, I would do anything for this. Like, I think a director needs to have that, like, I couldn't imagine any job, right?
Yeah.
Any job where you're working for somebody and you really don't like them or you're hard on them.
Yeah.
It's hard to get the effort. I mean, I would still always put effort in anything I do because I look at it as a reflection on me and my work. But I couldn't imagine going to a set every day and hating the fucking dude who's going like, cut, dude, we've done, and I'm sure that it's happened where you've had a director be like, we've done this like we've talked about, where with you just like, and I also got to work briefly with Judd Apatow, and I had the same type of thing where it was just like, do what you do, and a couple times, and you guys, and so you say you're a C student from Detroit and you're a stand-up first, but you actually had a similar thing to Judd, where when I worked with you, you both said the same thing. You both said to me, you go, do it how it's written a couple times, and then after that, just go and do you.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, okay, so I'll do what they wrote, and then they're letting me, and it ended up, and it was just like, oh, I'll do scenes with this guy, I'll make a movie with this guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A director that can have that and make the whole crew go, let's fucking nail this for this. That's a huge thing, man. That's like playing for a coach. That's like that. You got it's. I would say like that's like 5 basketball players looking at this guy going, let's fucking do that.
I appreciate that.
And I think that that's a real testament to somebody that's good at what they do. And I got that, And listen, the movies that Judge made some bangers.
I'm honored to even be in the sentence.
No, but you guys said this. But the only reason why I bring it up is because you guys, and listen, I had very small things for both. With the Judd, I was playing Pete Davidson's dad.
Yeah.
That died in the
you're only
fire.
7 months older than him.
Yeah, I know. I had a mustache and shit, like all this stuff. They had like dirt on my face. But like I'm outside this fire.
Yeah.
And I'm talking and I'm in an interview and I obviously lose my life in that. So Pete looks at that interview throughout the movie and it got cut out. But I remember I was with Judd for about, 35, 45 minutes and it was just me. It was just me, a camera and Judd in the scene. But he said the same thing that you said where it was just like, all right, it was a loose. And some people think, oh, how is it good? But it's like, no. A smart director knows that if you let listen, I like a player's coach.
Yeah.
I'm not good with that Bobby Knight shit.
Yeah.
And by the way, I'll say this: if a coach grabbed my son by the throat, I don't give a fuck. Like all these, like Isaiah Thomas and ever going like, no, that's discipline. Fuck, you put your hands around my son's throat. I'm gonna fuck you. I'm Sicilian and Greek. It's over.
It's over for you.
It's over, dude.
Last game you just coached.
Yeah, like you're not grabbing my son by his fucking throat. But anyway, I think that people that are in that environment it's a huge thing to just feel, because listen, it's already a lot of, there's pressure. You got to go, you got to hit your lines, you got to deliver it how they want it, all that. But you have somebody that goes, dude, you got this, or that you're like, all right, yeah, I do got this.
Bro, you got it.
It's confidence, right?
Yeah.
It's confidence, dude. And I think a shitty director can really be a problem.
Of course. Being a director, you got to be a people person on some level, unless you're some savant director who like understands every aspect of like lighting and he's a genius here and like just a quirky dude who just doesn't communicate. But for me, doing mostly comedies, and I've done one drama, but like that's my style. Like, do your, you know what I mean? Do what I wrote out of respect, see how it goes, and then with the same sentiment, do you.
Yeah.
And yeah, bro, you killed it, and that's.
Oh, I had fun.
And there's got to be there's a fine line with that too, because obviously you can't like waste a whole day letting like an improv run. So like you do it by the book twice, and then go have fun.
Yeah.
And usually the fun stuff comes out, to be honest. Like,
I remember when we were working together, and I remember I started riffing some stuff.
Oh, bro, I already remember I already remember what you riffed.
Yeah, you were just like, Now, you worked with somebody that does stand up now.
Yeah.
You worked with somebody that does stand up now, but was a serious actor and has been in some monsters, which is Rappaport.
Yeah, Rappaport.
Right? How was working with Rappaport on it? Because he's a wild kid, huh?
Bro, he's a wild dude. But Rappaport, straight up, is a disciplined actor.
Yeah.
He comes to set, bro, he knows his lines. He's ready to go. Let's run through it. He wants to run through it. So all this craziness that you see in the streets, it's a part of him for sure. It's an aspect of his personality, no doubt. But he is a professional actor. And I came to him because I was a fan of his, because his first movie was Zebrahead that he did in Detroit. So I was like already a fan. And so he did my first movie, My Man is a Loser, and we became friends. And I was like, this dude's got such a clear point of view that I can write for him every time. And so he's, I've written a lot of stuff for him and with him, and I ghost wrote his book, and he's always like, he's like, yo, you're my guy. Get over here. I got a brown paper bag with cash. I need you to write some shit for me. So I'll write, I wrote his book when we had a book deal, but no one knows. You know what I mean? Yeah. And he's just a character, and I'm a fan of Michael, you know what I mean? Like, that's my boy now. We've been friends a long time, and he's done 3 of my movies already, and when I ask him, he just says yes.
That's so
and I'm
cool.
just a fan of his talent, and I think he's super talented.
Oh, dude, he was in True Romance.
Yeah, and I won't be shocked if the dude, gets arrested at a protest and then wins an Oscar for something. Like, he doesn't give a damn, bro.
No.
Like me, I say what he says, I get attacked 7 different ways. Like, I'm physically beat up, I'm in a hospital. He somehow is able to, like, just say all the wildest shit, and he's still safe.
I love his holding sacred hip hop shit that he. You disrespect Nas, you fuck you.
He loves hip hop.
I know he does, and he actually, I'm a diehard Knicks fan. And I know he is, and he did the Eden, when the Garden was Eden, with the Knicks thing. But no, man, it's so cool to talk to somebody like you that has the ambitious mind to because I feel like me and you are similar in a way where I'll call up one of my boys, and I'll go, dude, I got this idea, let's make this shit, and it's like why not? It's like first of all, nobody's coming to even when things are good and there's some heat. Nobody's coming and going, hey, let's or it's rare to get, hey, but if you hey, let's make your movie. No, you gotta go, hey, I have a let's take a meeting. Let's do that. Let's fucking do that. And I love that, man.
You gotta be proactive at every stage of the game, and you should be like that, because any good thing that's happened in my career has been from me making something, even if it was like a little thing that I made, and I was like, yo, look at what I shot for free. Like, I shot this on some regular old cameras, but check the idea. And that idea somehow parlayed into someone seeing it and going, hey, let's make something on higher quality. So make good shit and share it. And I just believe if it's good, it will keep going and you'll be fine.
And I always say this, it's have goals. Well, what's your end game? I'm doing a spot here, and I'm going to do a spot here. Then I'm going to run a comedy show here. Then okay, that's great, and that is great because you're trying. But you gotta, what is that going to? And those are things, and you're a you're an inspiration, because somebody like you who has done comedy for the highest people at the highest level and started at one of the most famous places in the world and got your chops at one of the most famous places in the world, and having 3 movies under your belt now, and now continuing and going back to stand-up, and who knows what's next. I mean, sky's the limit, and thank you.
Thanks. But let me just say this, because sometimes I get bothered when I go deep into the movie world and I get off my stand-up track, because sometimes I feel like stand-up is my bigger calling. I really do. And it's I'll never say, and I was talking to Bill about this, because I was struggling for a minute. I was like, I love making the movies. I really do love it. But I love, I want to give stand-up the shot that I'm supposed to give it. And so I do struggle with that sometimes, because when if you make a movie, you're too tired. As a director of a movie, I'm too damn tired to go on stage at night and work on anything. I thought I would have the energy, but I didn't. And so sometimes I think maybe I give a year in the stand-up zone again, and I just go hard in the paint in stand-up, and I just hold off on I'll continue to write movies for that year, because I just love writing as an exercise, but maybe I hold off on that, and I see what I can be as a stand-up that I think I could be. I do have that thought, so I do battle it. And
I think that great comics do that a lot and have that, and it's also an insecurity that could almost be a compulsion, but it's I don't want to say that it's not real what you're going through. It's just that you want to get back out there, but you will.
Yeah.
And you got to also give your mind and self a break going, well, I just made a movie. I'm not smoking weed on the couch fucking learning how to skateboard and shit. You know what I mean? Like, you know, if you, like if you were like on the couch smoking weed and you were like, I'm going to go to Venice Beach with a skateboard and like people are like, Mike, like you haven't been at the club. Like that's something to be like, oh, let me give this a shot. But
I've been busy.
Yeah.
I have been busy.
There's a new edible out there on the boardwalk that's crushing it, dude. I'm telling you, I got, I'm ollieing higher. Like, no, you're doing, what you did is you carved out time of your life to make a fucking movie.
Yeah.
And all of that, and you got to also do this to yourself. Instead of beating yourself up about the time that you couldn't do comedy when you were making a movie, comedy gave you the connections and the ability to go make that movie.
Amen.
So like stand up made you make movies.
Totally.
So like you said, it's a continuum thing.
Yeah.
And you're gonna go back to stand up, be better than ever, and then by the way, be like, oh yeah, and now I got a movie. So it's all good, man. It's so great having you on, and time went by fast. Do you have anything you want to plug other than the movie coming out? I know the Stealing Jokes is coming out in February. We don't know where we're gonna. Yeah. So it's just coming out in February.
Yeah, no, you could just catch me. I'm going to go do some dates with Sebastian in November.
Nice.
It's all open for him. It'll be a 2-man show. That'll be fun.
Go check this guy out anywhere that you can. His special is on YouTube, produced by All Things Comedy, called Who the F is Mike Young. I worked on him. He directed me, which was an honor, and I couldn't believe how fucking great that day was. It was so fun, and I know that movie's going to crush. I see all the work and all the people that you have involved in it. Guys, check out all my dates, paulvirzi.com. I will be, my first show in London sold out. We added a show October 8th, which is Saturday. I'll be at Soul Joel's September 17th in Pottstown, Pennsylvania. Tickets are moving for that. October 19th, I will be at the Washington, D.C. Improv, and then the next night, the Philadelphia Punchline, October 20th. All tickets available, paulvirzi.com. Check out the Anything Better podcast I co-host with Bill Burr. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. I got to thank my producer here today, Mike Albanese, in association with Andrew Themlis, who's going to be getting this at his compound in Beverly Hills, putting this together. This has been episode 552. Mike.
Appreciate you.
Pleasure, dude. What up, though?
What up, though?
Take care.